What's up guys, in this video I have the first ever level 53 build for Amara. It is based all around the Wedding Invitation sniper rifle. As we all know, this sniper rifle is actually insane, and this build will get you through any Mayhem 4 activity that you need to get through. And as always, this build will be located in my Discord channel. If you want to download it from there, it's going to be located in the builds tab once you join. And if you download the file or enjoy the video in any way, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out and is truly appreciated. But with that being said, let's get right into the video. So starting off, we're going to be using a Wedding Invitation sniper rifle with an anoint on active skill in. We get 50% bonus shock damage in the next 2 magazines. This anoint is really good for this weapon because you'll never have to reload. Every crit returns a bullet back to the magazine and ricochets 2 cryo bullets to the nearest enemies. So with this anoint, you'll be doing incinerate and shock damage plus ricocheting cryo. And the next, specifically for the takedown, I have a level 53 cutsman with an axe gun. You get the next 2 magazines have 50% bonus corrosive damage, and it is a corrosive cutsman. This is the best I have right now for this, so this is what I'm going with for the takedown. This still melts Wotan and the Valkyrie squad, and it is super good at healing you with sustainment. Next, I have an iron cannon with no anoint, but it is level 53 with 28,000 damage, and it's a ×2. It is very good for second wins and also just doing an absurd amount of damage to any enemy. The iron cannon is always nice to have for second wins, and that's pretty much all to say about it. Next, I have a level 53 brainstormer with the anoint consecutive hits increase weapon damage by 1%. This is really good for taking down shields, especially things like the Valkyrie squad. It just straight destroys them. With the damage increasing, it's also increasing the damage of the chains, and you can straight up melt enemies. It's super good for ad clearing, and it's super good for proc and sustainment. And next, I have a level 50 transformer with on action skill, and I get 50% bonus cryo damage. Now this could be better. This build is not finalized, I would say, because it still needs level 53 gear in every slot, but as of now, the level 50 gear still works because of the ASE anoints, and it's definitely better to use a anointed level 50 than a non-anointed level 53, in my opinion. So with that being said, the transformer is a super tanky shield, and it is still good at level 53, it being at level 50. Next, I have a It's Piss Grenade at level 50 with an anoint to gain 50% bonus radiation damage on action skill in. So the level 50 It's Piss does not really matter because you're mainly just using it to apply the debuff and get the ASE anoint. So you're not really damaging an enemy with the nade. Level 50 is more than fine, but if you want to grind a level 53, you can. I probably will when I have everything else set up. The next, I have a level 50 Phase Zerker that gives me plus 45% Jacob's weapon critical damage and 31% action cooldown rate. This is super good for the Wedding Invitation because you're getting basically 45% more damage because you're always going to be landing crits. This is just stacking super well with all the skills I'm going to get into later and the gun itself. It is crazy the amount of damage you can do. Then next, again, I have a level 50 Snowdrift auto idol with a 21% axe skill cooldown rate and 40% magazine size. Magazine size doesn't really matter. The ignite chance actually does help with the Wedding Invitation, and we'll get into that a little later, but I'm mainly using this for the Snowdrift to get out of places really quick, and auto idol kind of helps but not really, and we'll also get into that later. But that is the main gear for this build. You can pretty much use that to take on the takedown with ease. I've completed the takedown in around 12 minutes, just casually just doing it, not actually trying to speed run it or anything, and it still involves level 50 gear. Now, one thing, like I said, this build could still be better because obviously getting level 53 gear is going to be great for everything, but the update has not been out long enough for that to happen yet, at least for me, because I haven't gotten super lucky. But this is what I'm working with right now. You can easily get through, take down any slaughters, and it's also super fun. So that's not the only gear I'm including with this build. I actually am also going to be including a Wedding Invitation with a 300% phase time anoint. This is what you saw take on Grave War. It is super good for killing bosses. The Wedding Invitation is insane for just bossing and mobbing in general, but this is what I'm including for specifically for bosses. The other one I feel is better for mobbing. I have a 250% phase cast 9 volt. This is just something I got while farming if you want to mess around with this. I have a 300% phase anoint with the Polybius right here if you want to mess around with that. I have a Tiggs boom right here with access skill in, deal 75% bonus radiation damage. I got this while doing the takedown. Then I actually have a Maggie right here, level 53 phase cast anoint. I got this from doing slaughter. Super lucky drop. So I'm going to include this if you guys want it. I would assume most of you probably do, so that's why I'm going to include it. Then I have an XQ right here for boss damage. Obviously, when the magazine is empty, you reload the gun on the boss. It applies a 50% debuff, which is really good. Then I have 4 extra shields and 4 extra grenades for all the ASE anoints. So for all the 4 shields, you have the respective elements, and then all the 4 grenades, you have respective elements. Like I said, I have cryo and radiation already equipped, so the other ones will be all the other 4 elements. Then I have a level 53 elemental projector, gives you actually 96% damage boost instead of 90%. It's not a huge amount more, but it is a little bit. That's that if you want to use that. And then I'm including a sellout to proc that elemental projector. Now going to the skills really quick, I'm just going to quickly show the skill tree off. I know some people just like to copy it down, but I will be going in depth with the skills when the gameplay pops up. and that is going to start right now. So starting off, we're going to be using Ties That Bind and Stillness of Mind. Then Phase Slam specifically when we're going to boss fights with the Wedding Invitation. But for the skills, we're doing 5 points to do harm. This is going to buff our Ties That Bind, and we're going to be doing even more damage to all the targets that are linked together. For each rush stack, we're getting 5.9% bonus action skill damage. So this is just adding damage to those chain targets, which is really good. I have 1 point Violent Tapestry right here just to get down to the bottom and also help keep our rush stacks up. I have 5 points of Restless to get 25% more cooldown rate, which is really good. I have 3 points of Transcend to get 38% more accuracy and 27% more critical hit damage after I pop my action skill. So this is going on top of our class mod that's giving us 45% more critical hit damage. Plus the accuracy is really nice for a sniper rifle. Now I have 1 point Ascendant right here to buff our Stillness of Mind, and they're going to stay chained together just a little bit longer, and this actually makes a world of difference. Now I'm actually putting 3 points from Rest to get 12% more fire rate and 44% more charge speed. Charge speed is super good on things like the Cutsman, and the fire rate is actually very noticeable on things like the Wedding Invitation, so you can spam it a little more. Now I'm putting 3 points in Wrath. We get 20% more gun damage, and then every time we pop our action skill, we're getting 20% more gun damage. So this is going to work really well with our Anoints and generally just doing more damage. This paired with Transcend is super nasty. Now I have 3 points in Awakening right here to buff our rush stack effectiveness. This is not only going to be buffing our Ties That Bind damage, but since we did put 1 point Violent Tapestry, it's going to be buffing our Elemental Effect chance, which is actually a decent thing you can use in this build, and we'll get into that in 1 second. Now I have 1 point Remnant, so any overkill damage we do is going to actually go into a orb that's going to chase enemies down and do a lot of damage. As you saw in the beginning of the video, it pretty much destroyed the Valkyrie squad with just 1 orb, and I had to put a couple shots in with a Cutsman. Then finally I have 1 point Avatar to get 10 more rush stacks, and I can pop max skill twice for cooldown. We're going to be having a cooldown a lot, which is necessary to proc our Anoints and do a ton of damage. Next, I'm putting 5 points in Anima, which is getting buffed to 7 with the class mod, and Anima is actually super strong with this build in my opinion, since the Wedding Invitation actually does incinerate damage, and it has a decently high dot damage on it at 2,334. That's nothing to look over. That pair with Anima makes the status effect actually be able to do a lot of damage, and we're going to be using the solar action skill element so we can get even more benefits from Anima. So if you just have a status effect on somebody and you have the Wedding Invitation out, it actually is going to be able to do a good amount of damage if you can't get a shot on somebody. The next, I'm putting 3 points Steady Hands to get 32% more handling, 31% more accuracy. This is very good for a sniper rifle. I'm putting 5 points in Tempest to get 38% elemental damage and 20% more shock damage, which is good. The elemental damage is buffing all of Amara's elements, plus the 20% is buffing my Anoint, so we can do an insane amount of damage with just 1 bullet. Now I'm putting 1 point Illuminated Fist right here just to get down to the bottom. Every now and then you can melee a weak enemy and actually kill them, which is fun to do, especially if it's a fleshy enemy, because you're going to be using the solar axe element, so we're going to do more damage with that. Then I have another point in Wildfire just to get down to the bottom later on. Not really doing anything for us. But now I'm putting 1 point in Dread. Every time we phase grasp an enemy, we get 15% more gun damage on that phase grasp target, plus our gun is immediately reloaded. So Dread paired with the gun already regenerating bullets, we're going to constantly keep that 50% bonus shock damage up with that Anoint, because we'll never have to reload. That's why I didn't take any reload perks. Now I'm putting 1 point in Deep Well to increase our magazine size by 20%. This is very good for all our elemental weapons, but this is furthermore increasing our Wedding Invitation, so we don't have to reload. Next, I'm putting 3 points in Indiscriminate, so we have a better ricochet chance. This is really good for all of our guns, especially on things like the Brainstormer, because we can ricochet the lightning shots to chain even more lightning, and you can get a ton of ricochets off, especially with the Wedding Invitation, since it already ricochets to begin with. It is a super good skill to have, and it's one of Amara's best skills. Now here's where things get really cool. Now that we have 3 extra skill points, we can put 5 points in Sustainment. So instead of just getting 2 points, we're now getting 5 points, which is giving us 20% of our elemental damage dealt back as health. This is super good for things like the Cutsman, and it's actually super good for things like the Wedding Invitation. Since it does do incinerate damage, we can actually use the Wedding Invitation to heal us with Sustainment. With 5 points of Sustainment plus all the other buffs that we've already went over, pretty much 1 critical hit shot will heal you back to full at any range because it's a sniper rifle. So if you're weak, you can just take the Wedding Invitation out, get a crit, and you're pretty much healed to max health most of the times. There's some exceptions where you won't, but for the majority of the game, you will be healed back to max health, and it's actually crazy. The Brainstormer is benefiting from this too, because you're just chaining lightning everywhere. All that lightning is healing you, and then you have the Cutsman on things like bosses. It's healing you a ton as well. This build is super good all around in anything. It can easily do any Mayhem 4 activity that you want to do, that you want to complete with no trouble. So with this build, you have it all. You have an absurd amount of damage. You have an insane amount of survivability with all the health regen and the Snowdrift artifact, and it is super fun to play. The Wedding Invitation is by far one of the best snipers in the game now. It kind of sucks that you have such a short amount of time to get it, but I'm sure if you're watching this in the future, there's multiple places where you can trade items and try to get you one. Again, like I said, I do have a Discord if you want to join that and want to ask around. I'm sure people would be more than happy to help you out with that. But all in all, this build, like I said, could still use improvements. I don't have every single piece of gear level 53 or the absolute best things yet. Obviously, getting a better class mod will result in more critical hit damage. Getting a better shield will result in more survivability. Getting a better artifact would actually result in a slight amount increase in the slot speed. It goes to 105% instead of 102%. Plus, you would get more axe skill cooldown rate, and it would help out a lot actually. But it's not necessary. Since we're already clearing things super quick as it is with level 50 gear, with some level 50 gear, I can only imagine actually getting the level 53 gear and how much it'll help. And one thing I forgot to mention was the ignite chance on the artifact. It pairs in well with the Valiant Tapestry perks. So basically, since we have Valiant Tapestry and Awakening pairing together super well to get an elemental effect chance, we'll also have a 27% chance to ignite the enemies as well. Then on top of that, we're going to go to Anima, which is going to buff the damage of the ignite, and you can melt enemies like that too. But that is the build. So with Phase Grasp, you can add clear super well, Phase Grasp everything all the time, one shot everything all the time. You can melt bosses with the Cutsman for the takedown, or with the Wedding Invitation for things like Grave Ward. You never die with the Brainstormer or even the Wedding Invitation, and if you do, you have the level 53 Ion Cannon to get you back up. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember, if you did, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It is truly appreciated. I'm pushing to 1,000 subscribers. I am very close, and I seriously cannot thank you guys enough for that. Thank you so much for all the recent support, and I'm glad I can help you guys out with all these builds. Once again, I want to say this build is located in my Discord if you want to download it to help you guys start farming better gear. And yeah, that's gonna do it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.